So we'll start, I guess, at the beginning. So my first question is, how did you start your career? Did you plan on going into something teaching related? And did you plan on taking this route of becoming a principal one day?
When I started my career, I was actually a school psychologist at Sevastopol up in Door County. And my boss at the time, the superintendent, was a guy by the name Joe McMahon. And when I was about 26 years old, he told me I should become a principal. And so I went back to school and said, why not? And when I was 28 then, I got hired by Howard Swamico at Bayport. And so I've been here for, it's my 30th year. And so didn't think that's the route I would take until someone suggested that I do it. Decided to do it, and I'm happy that was the decision that I made.
Is there any reason why you came to Bayport specifically, or was that just someone that was hiring and you were?
I knew the person who was in my job as an associate principal before me. I knew nothing about Bayport at the time. Matter of fact, most of my friends were from De Pere. They actually told me maybe I wouldn't want to come here at the time. However, I didn't know much about Bayport. I applied. I really didn't think I would get the job. However, I did, and it's probably the best thing that ever happened to me.
One thing I was really wondering is what you would consider to be your greatest career achievement. And
I think from a principal standpoint, probably all the offerings that we have for kids to take at Bayport. So whether that's classes during the course of the day, we've got over 300 classes. We've got kids, if they want to go, from school to work immediately after they leave here, there's classes for that. If you want to go to technical college, there's classes for that. If you want to go to a four-year school, there's classes for that. There's ways for kids to get college credit, probably more here than a majority of schools in the state of Wisconsin and maybe in the country. And so for me, the academic accomplishments about offerings for kids and opportunities for kids. And then the other things too, like musicals and the play and athletics and the number of those things that we have that if you want to be involved in something, you can be. And we've got a ton of opportunities for kids. And so probably through my 30 years, I'm proud of the fact that we've been able to just increase those opportunities for kids to make sure that we're trying to make sure they have a plan for the next thing they want to do in their life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that is something that's kind of special about Bayport, that you offer so much stuff.
Yep, like this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
Instance, right? So, it's cool. It's neat.
And then did you build that, was that something that was kind of built on over your time here, or is that something that's kind of accelerated just in the last few years?
No, I think it's, 30 years ago, we had offerings, a lot of offerings for kids, but we really expanded it, especially college credit types of situations where if kids want to take a course and then get dual credit with an NWTC or a state school or another college. Those are things that we really expanded over time. It's been a slow process, but it's something we're continually trying to do. I think anybody who wants to go to school after graduating from Bayport should have some college credits probably in their pocket by the time they leave. They have the opportunity to do that, and there's no reason people shouldn't have that. And so it's taken time, but we continue to expand, and we'll probably continue to do that as Mr. Weeble takes over here in the future.
What has been your favorite memory from working at Bayport, or what's something you've really cherished specifically over your time here, being here so long that?
Just there's a lot of daily things that happen that I enjoy. Like even today, I probably met with 5 or 6 kids about their schedule for second semester, trying to figure out what they want to do, where they want to go. They reached out to me and said, can you help me with my schedule? I've reached back out to them and said, sir, schedule a time to meet with me. So just the day-to-day operations with teachers and with kids are probably the things I remember the most, maybe not one specific thing. Obviously the football team, I'm a big sports guy, and so the football team winning the state championship this year in my last year was a pretty significant I shouldn't say one-day event, but that day anyway when we won, it'll be something I remember forever. And so, it's probably more the day-to-day things that I'm probably more proud of, but individually, one event, that would probably be right up there.
Okay, and I was going to ask what is your favorite part of the job, but I think that kind of covered that too, just the day-to-day interacting with students.
I still love working every day. I love coming here every day, which is, I'll be retiring still wanting probably to come back next year. and that'll probably be hard for me. But I still enjoy coming to work. I don't really consider it work. And so I just enjoy being here and trying to help kids along with teachers, and it's been something I've enjoyed forever.
And then this one, to kind of change it up a little bit, what is the most difficult part of your job day to day, or what's something that's a little harder to kind of handle in your job as a principal,
Yeah.
especially having so much responsibility in your position?
Yeah, probably two things. One is when you work with kids, it's complicated. Everybody's life is a little bit different, and so there really isn't any one way to do things for individual people. And so it's frustrating sometimes that our system isn't built in a way sometimes where we get to know kids well enough. Like, we have never met before.
Mm-hmm.
And so get to know kids well enough to know exactly what they need from us, because we don't have the capability to do that sometimes. So from an individual student standpoint, that can be frustrating. How can you help kids? And you feel like you're spending a lot of time, but it might not be making a difference, and sometimes you don't know when you make a difference. And then in my job, I deal with adults too, so teachers, right? And so teachers are different than kids. I'm no different than kids, really, just older. And so we all have our issues too. And so trying to help adults, work through some of their issues and make sure they can be the best teachers that they can be. And, leaning on other people to help me too. My life isn't perfect. And so I think when you work with people, it's complicated because of how different we are, but it's also a challenge that I really enjoy.
Are there any specific strategies that you've tried or developed to get to know students a little more? Like, I know sometimes we have surveys and pirate time
Yeah.
and questionnaires. Is there anything that you've found to really help with that, or to get to know students, or even student-teacher relationships?
Well, when I first started as principal, I still see a group of freshmen every year, first hour of every day. And so Mr. Wallander and I do that. Mr. Wallander is a little bit better at it only because he does it almost every day. I probably do it a few days a week. And so I meet with freshmen. It's a study hall. However, I get a chance to talk to them. I get a chance to understand where they're coming from. I get to understand what they're doing in some classes. I get a better understanding of what their day is like as a student, because obviously I'm not one anymore. And so for me, that's just been my way to connect with kids. Actually, next semester, I'm going to work with 20 kids who are struggling in math. I'm going to work with them every first hour. And so most principals probably don't do that. But for me, it's just a way that I can stay connected to kids, to try to understand that I know where they're coming from and what's it like being a student throughout the course of the day at Bayport.
Mm-hmm. And then this one switches it up a little bit, but what are the most notable changes you've witnessed in education during your career as a principal, especially being in education your whole life? You've seen a lot happen. So
Yeah, I wish there were probably more, because it's still kind of the same. The bell rings. You go to different classes. That hasn't changed in 30 years. Should it? I'm not sure. Probably technology, obviously. This area right here used to have all computers in it, because if you wanted to go to a computer, you had to come to the library, or you had to go to a computer lab. Now, you're carrying it around in your hand. Kids have phones in their hands. And so from a technology standpoint, which I think is great, kids sometimes don't use it correctly. But from a technology standpoint, there's no question that leaps and bounds. I couldn't imagine. I mean, we built this building. We said that we'll never be wireless. And so this building is wired for every computer to be plugged into a wall and have internet connection, because we will never be wireless. Well, right now, everybody's wireless, right? And so what it'll look like in 20 years, I'm not exactly sure, but the technology is crazy in regards to what kids have, and they don't even really realize it, I don't think, because you're just used to it. You've grown up with it all your life. But I can remember when kids' schedules were on a Rolodex, which you don't even know what a Rolodex is, and I'd have to flip through it on my desk to see a kid's schedule. I wouldn't even be on a computer. And so it's changed dramatically. It's made things easier, and so that's probably the biggest change. Kids are still kind of the same, but technology is a lot different.
And then going along with technology, what impact have you seen phones and, I guess, social media and the kind of, I guess, addiction and tendency to be on them have, and how have you kind of tried to help that behavior, or I guess correct it throughout the school day?
Yeah, I mean, kids are going to have phones. That's not going to change. I mean, you don't even remember probably having a phone in your house with a cord on it. When I grew up, there was a cord on a phone, and the idea that you'd carry your phone around would have been a crazy idea, and now it's obviously common. Everybody has one, and I think it can be a positive thing, and it can be used in a positive way. However, I also think it's a deterrent for some kids in regards to a classroom, and you've probably seen it a little bit more maybe this year, where teachers might be collecting phones because it's a distraction. There's no question about it. It's a distraction for me. I'm addicted to my phone, and so just like kids are, I'm on my phone all the time, too much. And I think it can be used in a positive way. But you mentioned social media. I think social media can be used awesome. I'm an X guy or a Twitter guy, and so I have my Twitter site's Bayport High School. I'm on it all the time. However, I also see social media being used by kids in a way that's just mean, by the way I would describe it. And so just like everything else, it can be a positive thing and it can be a negative thing, but it's not going away. You have to embrace it. And it'll be interesting to see what that journey is in the next, like I said, 20 years. What will technology look like? I'm not sure, but it'll be fun to watch.
Mm-hmm. And then, how has your approach to school leadership changed and evolved over time as you've gained more experience and had more time in education?
That's a great question. Probably hasn't changed all that much. I truly believe that probably the most important adults in this building are the teachers. They see you every day. They're the people that kids get to know the best. You don't see me every day for 45 minutes. You're going to see teachers every day of the school year. And so for me, they're the most important people. So I really feel like it's my job to help them in any way that I can. Try to make them a better teacher. Try to listen to them, try to understand where they're coming from. No different than teachers working with kids. And so I don't think my leadership style has changed that much. I want teachers to feel like they can experiment in classrooms and do creative things. They don't necessarily have to ask me permission, but they can do those things without having to ask the boss permission, and kind of give them the flexibility to do that. So that's probably been, I think I've operated like that probably my entire time here at Bayport.
What are important qualities you're looking for in someone to take your position and to look over Bayport?
Well, Mr. Weeble's going to do it. That came out this week officially, and so I'm happy about that. I've had an opportunity to work with him for a number of years, and I think his leadership style will be different than mine, but I also think it'll be really similar to mine. He wants to you got to spend time here. I'm here a lot. I love being here a lot. I'll be here tonight. I'll be here tomorrow night. You've got to see people. You have to see parents. You have to see community members. You have to see kids. You have to be visible. He'll do that. He'll also listen to people. He lives in the community. He understands the system. His kids go here. And so I'm happy that he's taken over for me.
What strategies have you used to build a positive school culture and climate?
A lot. To be visible. And sometimes I'll be maybe in my office too much, but I need to see kids. You probably, if you walk through the commons, if you come into the front door at the beginning of the school day, I'm there. If you leave today at 2:40, I'll probably be standing in the commons. I think people have to see me at things, and just be positive. I come every day with an attitude that it's going to be a great day. Some days are better than others, but I think you can't give up on kids. Even if they struggle with school or personal issues, whatever's going on, my feeling is that they're all good. And if there's a reason kids aren't doing well, it's probably complicated. And our job is to try to figure that out and make sure they're doing okay. So I think if you can do that, and you can develop a culture that's pretty cool, but plus just being good at things, right? Whether it's orchestra or band or choir or the musical or the play or the football team or all those other extracurricular things, or if it's AP classes or if it's IB or if it's welding or if it's engineering. I mean, if you're good at stuff and you hire really good people, the culture just kind of comes from that.
And then, is there any specific pieces of advice you would give to Mr. Weeble as he takes on the role of principal?
So every day I say, not everybody thinks the same. And so there are times like I'll have ideas that I would think everybody would agree with. It's that obvious to me, like everyone's going to love this idea. And I find out that that's just not the way it works. And we all think differently. And that's a good thing. And so if I would hire everybody that thought exactly like me, I don't think we would make the progress that we've made, or teachers just like me. And so my recommendation, and he knows this, and we talk about it all the time, that everybody's perspective should be appreciated and listened to. Might be different than yours, but that doesn't mean that if you and I differ on something, it doesn't mean we still can't get along. We just respect each other's opinion on things and try to get together and excuse me, come up with some great ideas to help kids. But I won't think like you will, and you won't think like I will, but that shouldn't mean that we can't talk about issues. And I think in our world today, we need to be better at that, not only in school, but every place.
And then finally, how do you plan to spend your time in retirement?
That's a great question. Love playing golf, so I'll probably play a little bit more golf. I'll still be here. I only live about a mile away, so I can still see me here at evening events, whether it's a concert, play, musical, athletic event. And my wife's going to retire too. She's a pharmacist, and so we'll travel a little bit. My kids are growing up. One of my sons lives in Chicago, the other one in Milwaukee. And so we'll spend more time with them as family. And I'm not really sure. I think I'll figure that out when it happens, and it'll just happen, and I'll be good.
All right, and I think that's where we'll end it right
Thank
there.
you. Thanks.
So
Awesome.